And now, straight out of Boston, Massachusetts, it's time for Entertainment Talk Nation, your number one entertainment talk show, discussing everything from the movies to video games and more. And now, here is your host, Robert Rosado.
Hey everybody, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This is a podcast. Yes, believe it or not, a podcast. It's been a long time since April. Since we've done a podcast. And yes, I am not alone. I am here with Mr. Xander Skullion. Mr. Xander, how are you, my good friend?
I'm doing good. It's great to be back in the saddle again. Absolutely.
And of course with us, the beautiful and talented Miss Olivia Sinead Herron. How are you, lovely?
I'm fantastic. I'm strangely wonderful right now.
Well, it's the holidays. You should be.
I know.
So, first of all, let's just say, I know a lot of people probably listening to this like, wait a minute, a podcast? We hardly get videos from you and you're going to drop a podcast on us? Well, I like doing things ass backwards, and just so everybody knows ahead of time, this podcast will only be on YouTube. It will not be uploaded onto Podbean. We're hoping, after discussing this with Xander and Olivia, we're hoping to at least do one podcast a month for the time being. Once a week is a little bit too much for all of us. I have kids. Olivia has a child. Xander has a million other podcasts he's doing on top of his job. And he's playing video games. You know what I mean? So we need to have room for the video games, you know, the gifts that we got for Christmas, you know, so we have to have room to play video games. So we can only do one podcast a month. But I wanted to start off with a podcast before the new year, which is when I'm planning to resume videos, because I definitely want to discuss a lot. First of all, I want to discuss the year in entertainment in terms of movies. It's been a great year. We've had, you know, Marvel's done their thing with the Ant-Man and the Avengers. And, of course, we have Jurassic World was a big deal. And, of course, recently Star Wars, which we're going to get into in a moment because I know you guys have seen it. And, in terms of what's been going on the ETN side of things, you know, the last few videos I've done, which have been very rare, have only been like one or two videos here and there. And I haven't showed myself, you know, so I just want you guys to know I'm not hiding anything. I haven't lost any weight. Okay. In fact, I probably gained some because it's the holidays. So nothing's changed. I'm kind of just, they're like spot on moment videos. So the time it takes to set up the camera and this and that, and I'm like, you know what? I just want to get my point across with just whatever I'm talking about with Star Wars, whatever, and then put it up there and then see what people have to say about it and whatever. So, but before we get into anything, I want to catch up with my two friends here. So Xander, what's been going on? How have you been?
Oh, I've been very, very busy. Just a lot of podcasting, YouTubing. Earlier this month in December, I went to, Anawave, had a panel for that, doing the whole, how to start your own podcast or YouTube. So I did that and it turned out really well. So I've been busy with that. I'm about to start another podcast very soon with a kind of like a super group. It's pretty much like a YouTube group page. And all of us really got along and we're like, hey, let's start a podcast. So it's going to have, different hosts. It's not just going to be me. It's going to be a whole bunch of different people, but, it's called League of Ordinary Gamers. That's what it's called. And, we should be doing that sometime in January. So, 2016 looks like it's going to be just as busy as, 15 was.
League of Ordinary Gamers. I like that. Sounds like another Marvel movie.
Yeah.
I like that. And Olivia, how have you been? What's been going on with you?
Oh man, it's been crazy busy. Like I picked up started doing watercolors a couple months ago and it just kind of took off. Oh my god, it's just been hectic. Like I started, like you guys, when we first started, I really wasn't picking up business as much, and now it's just constant every month. I've got 7 or 8 commissions I've got to do.
Nice.
I know that I'm going to be trying to get into not necessarily a Comic-Con, but it's a toy and video game convention in Bloomington here in Indiana, and I'm going to try to get an artist alley and set up down there. I started working at a local, it's a video game, vintage card game, toy store. I work there. I've been there since June. I do like the wall murals, and I go in and help out with the store. We do D&D, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon tournaments. We actually just got sanctioned to do all these things. So I'm all over the gamut of things that I could do right now. So it's crazy. Like, I'm crazy busy and doing all kinds of stuff. So
sounds
awesome.
like my kind of store.
Yeah, seriously.
I mean, they're huge. I'm a huge nerd. That's why I love podcasting with you guys. But man, like, going in there, he's a veteran. He's into Star Wars. So like, we go in there, we talk about Star Wars, we talk about Deadpool. I mean, it's insane just going in there. I love hanging out with all the guys that come in to play Magic. So I mean, it's just, I'm down there for 2 or 3 hours every week working on stuff for my business, because my art's set up in the store and I do the window murals every month with something different. So I mean, it's just a huge gathering in this small town of like nerds.
That's awesome. The town of nerds. The League of Gamers and the town of nerds. I like where this is going.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, my kids started going to school late August, early September, and that pretty much changed everything. Like, suddenly time was not an option anymore. And a lot of things happened from that point up until now that just basically kept me off of YouTube. You know, being busy with them. Potty training is a big deal. Believe me, this.
I'm totally in the same boat with you right now.
Oh my God, man. Potty training is no joke.
Oh my God, no.
They're finally on the cusp of getting both parts of it down. And I'm hoping that the days of diapers are over in the coming weeks.
I know, right? My son's going on 4, and I feel terrible because he is developmentally with speech therapy. So like, his speech for a while, he couldn't talk very well. Like, we couldn't understand him. So now it's getting to that point, but like, he'll go really well for like a week, and he'll go to the bathroom when I tell him to, and he'll get onto it, and then just, it'll be done. Like, he doesn't want to do it anymore. And I'm like, oh my God, man, I have done money. I have done cars. We have done candy. We've done cookies. Like, what do I need to do to get you to go to the bathroom?
I know, seriously. So, and then to top things off, one thing I learned the hard way is when you first send your kids to school at that age, they're going to get sick a lot.
Yeah.
My kids were sick for at least 2 straight months. I missed so much work. I'm almost in disbelief that I still have a job, you know?
Yeah.
Then one thing led to another. Then a couple of weeks ago, I got into a car accident. My car got wrecked. So we're down to one car now, and just a lot of things happened. So that's really what kept me off of YouTube. You know, I just got to take care of priorities. Plus I have my job, which is full time, not like before when I was just doing my part-time thing and just kind of doing my own computer business stuff on the side. And so now I'm like, okay, now that I have a schedule, now that I see this new routine had developed, one that I had to get used to for the last 3 months, ever since my kids went to school. Now I'm like, okay, I can do this now. Now I know what days I got to do it. I know what days that, you know, I'm going to have to limit myself. So for listeners who might be for people who are listening right now, and I'm going to mention this in one of my videos next week, when I do my show reviews, I'm not going to be doing reviews per episode anymore. I'm basically going to do a midway review and the end of the season review. And I might do a couple of spot videos in between if something major happens on a show, whatever show I'm watching, like The Flash, Arrow, whatever. That's what I'm going to do for that. Then I'm going to continue with, obviously, my Godzilla talk. We'll get into some of that a little bit later. And then my other stuff. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much what I'm going to do. And I'm just not going to make any promises, because life always throws a wrench and you're never prepared for it. And life is always going to come first. My wife, my kids, my job is always going to come before YouTube. But I enjoy doing YouTube enough that I want to continue doing it. So with that said, and I'm glad we've all caught up, let's talk Star Wars. Okay. Now, before we get into it, I'm assuming you both have seen it.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw it twice.
Okay. So I want to hear your thoughts right off the bat. Let's start with you, Olivia. What did you think of Star Wars?
Going into this film, like, there was a lot of leeriness, especially with their prequels. Like, as a kid seeing it, like, you enjoy it for what it is, but as an adult rewatching them, there's a lot of nitpickiness there. So I went into this movie thinking, okay, well, I'm just going to go in and it's going to be a new Star Wars. I'm pumped for it. You know, I am excited. Going in with a bunch of people, and not just like 50 or 60, but like 200 in a theater, and they're all Star Wars fans, and there's cheering and clapping and wooing and crying, and you're all just like getting like that, on top of it being what it was with all the old characters being back on screen, new characters that we've never seen, certain imagery that was invoked in this film just blew me away. Like, it was just one of those things. And even though there are still plot lines that they're not necessarily there, so there's still holes, we were given enough to wonder what's going to happen in the next film and still want us to go see it again to see if we missed anything. So I think that for being a new Star Wars film and definitely coming out one hell of a swing for what it is, I mean, to me, this film was probably one of my favorites that I have seen in a really long time. And I was completely impressed with everything.
All right. What about you, Xander?
Well, yeah, like I said earlier, I saw it twice, which is not a normal thing for me when it comes to going to the movies. I've only seen like 3 movies twice the whole time like I've been alive, and that's Star Wars Episode 3, Godzilla 2014, and the new Star Wars. And I'll say this, like, the new Star Wars has its faults. Like, it's by all means not a perfect movie, but it's a fantastic Star Wars movie. And, you know, Olivia brought up a good point about going to see it again, but just to see what kind of stuff that you kind of missed before. And you know what's really funny is I saw Star Wars Friday morning, and I saw it around like 9:20. And when I went to go see it, I was like, you know, it's probably going to be still packed. A whole lot of people's going to be there. I was like, I went at the right time to see Star Wars, and it's like the theater only had, like, the room probably only had like 20 people, including myself. It was a very small viewing. And it was like the people that went to go see Star Wars at that time were like the diehard Star Wars fans, in the sense that no one said a word. Like, everyone went in there. It was dead quiet the whole time. And then, like, at the very end of the movie, you just heard a loud sigh, and everyone, like, walked out excited. It was so funny. But, I mean, like, comparing that to seeing it the day after Christmas, because I saw it again the day after Christmas, you know, it was packed, and people were talking, and it was, you know, people were more celebrative about it. But, yeah, it was great. And I even took that day. Actually, I was going to take that day off, but I ended up working a half day. But I told my boss, like, back in October, I'm like, dude, I already pre-ordered these tickets. I'm taking that day off. And he's a big Star Wars fan, as well, so he didn't mind. He was actually kind of upset that he didn't get to go see it with me, but we got to go see it later on. But he was like, I was like, yeah, I got to go see this movie. It felt like that it was something I had to do, and I'm glad. I really enjoyed it. It's good.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun watching it. It was, I can't say, you know, my theater was packed, and it was a very, very just bum crowd, you know? Nobody cheered during the fucking opening. Nobody clapped for the highlight moments of the movie. I'm like, whoa, this crowd sucks. You know, and then of course I want to, but I'm not, because I don't want to be the only buffoon in the theater clapping. So, but I thought the movie was fantastic. It was so much fun. I mean, I couldn't believe, I thought JJ just did a great job.
Yeah, he really did.
Yeah.
Especially for the Star Trek guy.
Yeah.
Doing Star Wars. Like, there's no lens flares. Like, all the typical JJ thing was like, it wasn't in there.
Yeah.
And like, there's so much that I want to talk about, but like, I can't pick anything that I want to, like, I know there's one scene that caught me the most when it happened, and I was like, good God, like, this film.
Oh no, we can speak spoilers.
Okay.
What scene was that?
Like, the very beginning when they're on Jakku and Kylo comes in and stops that shot and just holds it, I was like, what the hell have we walked into? Because I don't remember this being in any other film. And like, this one guy was like, that I talked to about it, he was like, there's no way that he could have done that. I was like, I honestly think that they did it to prove how strong the Force is, because you have to think about it, the previous films that we've had, 4, 5, and 6, they didn't have the ability to do necessarily that kind of special effects before.
Right.
So it gave them the opportunity this time to do all of these things that we've never seen before. And when he held that shot for what, it was like 15 minutes when he held that entire conversation, did what he did, and then just was like, let it go, and walked away. I was like, okay, this entire film is going to be like this, and I'm totally down for the rest of it.
Oh yeah.
Like, the fight scenes, like the comedy, the chemistry, it was just so much fun. Like, I've never been fully into a movie except for like Godzilla 14 when it came out. But when watching this film, like, there's literally, I'm so flabbergasted for words just rethinking about everything. But just that scene, and then the scene where, like, the fight scenes in space and when they're on the planets, and like all of that was just, it was so well done. And but that one scene got to me, especially with the rest of the film, where he talks about where Kylo and himself, even though there's a lot of people on the nation, they're like, oh, he's just a bitch. And I'm like, no. I don't see him being a bitch, and he may not be strong right now, but I think that as the movies go on, because even the guy that played him complained about the fact that he couldn't do what he wanted to do with the character himself because the mask couldn't allow him to elicit emotion, or it was the wrong voice that he wanted to do. So, I mean, there were certain aspects that he had problems dealing with as an actor, but he pulled it off in such a way that I think helped push the film even forward. And I liked the mythological aspect of this film more than I did, especially with the prequels. I think that they tied that in a lot more in this one than they've done before.
Yeah, Adam Driver did a fantastic job. Even considering that I thought that, oh my God, Kylo Ren. There you go. I almost forgot his name for a second there. Yeah. Even though I thought that he, as the movie progressed and I found out more and more that he's not as, what's the word I'm looking for? He's not as much in charge as I thought he might be in. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like him and the other guy were competing for, what is it, Snoke, yeah. It's almost like they were competing for leadership under Snoke. You know what I mean?
I think it was a tension, really.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It felt like they were asking for, so that's one thing that I, as the movie progressed, I'm like, oh, so he's not really like,
he's not like Darth Vader.
Right. Even Darth Vader in the original, in New Hope, is almost the same thing, only he wasn't competing. He, later on, as the Empire, the little, the generals and the captains of the worlds started to realize just how powerful he was, he kind of got their respect and got their fear. Cause you remember in the first movie, some of these guys were challenging him, like when he told the guy, I find your lack of, faith disturbing. These people were challenging Vader. You didn't see that in Empire. You didn't see that in Jedi. So, but not to the degree of Kylo Ren.
I loved how, methodical he was, too, because Darth Vader had a tendency of taking out his anger on the people on the Death Star. Like, Kylo didn't do that. Like, he took his anger out on shit around him. Yeah. And then was like, is there anything else you need from me? And if you're going to fuck up, here, let me just destroy more shit, because this is probably what I'm going to do to you if you fuck up anymore. And I was like, this is me. Like, if this is me when I'm angry, and, that's what, got me about him, was that he was more reserved with his anger. Instead of taking it out on those around him, he took it around on the things that he was near, which I felt was very interesting as a character, because we all know Darth Vader was the one that would force choke anybody that pissed him off. Kylo doesn't do that. He takes it, I'm going to just tear the shit out of this stuff and make you think that I'm going to do this to you, which I think is even more scary in an aspect.
Yeah, because it's almost it's like he's a ticking time bomb.
Yeah, just wait until I get to you, because this is what's going to happen to you. You can watch it and see what I'm going to do. And I think there's more fear there. And I think that was driven when he says, I want to be like what, I don't remember if he says his grandfather or if he says like Vader. Like, I don't want to be a disappointment to him. And I was like, it's an interesting aspect to go on.
One of the things I really liked about Kylo Ren too was the fact that he threw tantrums. That made me think of Anakin Skywalker when he did that, because it showed that his emotions really took a hold of him, and that's a really big dark side trait. So when he did that, I thought that was really cool. And I also like the fact that, he was battling the light and dark side.
Yeah, really, he definitely was. And I think what's scarier is that he actually chose the dark side.
Yeah.
See, Vader didn't really choose the dark side. He was fooled into it. The Emperor made him believe that he had a cure, or some way of saving Padme, and Anakin was so desperate to keep him alive that he would basically do his bidding, and then eventually that's when it just consumed him. So it's one thing when you're tricked or fooled or coerced into the dark side. It's another thing to actually choose it. So I think that's what's going to make Kylo Ren's journey interesting over the next two movies, is that here's somebody we know chose the dark side. He wasn't tricked into it. As far as we know, he wasn't tricked into it.
Yeah, now here's a good question. What did you guys initially think about the Han Solo death?
I'll let Olivia go first.
Like, I knew that it was coming. I knew that one of the characters had to die that was old. And I figured it would be Han. Especially if they were going to go with the plot that Kylo Ren was Han's son, which had been kind of leaked early on. For me, it wasn't necessarily shocking, but the way that it was done was just, it was creepy, it was dark, and then just the way that the light was when it hit him, and then when Kylo, I think that was the hardest part, especially as a parent watching, like seeing a child that has chosen to go dark, and then looking his father in the face and going, I'm falling apart and I'm breaking because there's a battle going on, and then being like, you can save me, and then him going, and Han thinking, oh, I got this, and then his son just like lightsabering him to the chest, and having this look on his face like, that's what I meant, Dad, I didn't mean the other thing, and then just letting him die, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, that's when you realize that the character that's standing there is not only evil, but he's like screwed in the head to just look at his dad and be like, you are the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's not anybody else's fault. It's yours. And that, I think, in that scene is when you realize that I think there's a hatred there for his dad that he had that was, tearing him up. Because that's what at least I took away from it, was that there was a resentfulness for when they decided to take Kylo or Ben to Luke, when Luke took him.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, that's an interesting point you brought up, because you would think something that would cause that kind of rift with a son and a father is another sibling.
Yeah.
And as far as we know, there is no other sibling.
No, and I think it's funny too that they named their child Ben, and because that was interesting too for how his name was Ben, especially for the references of how Leia was. She revered. Oh my God, what is his name? Never mind. I can't think of it right now. I'm having it was just interesting too for when he called out his son's name and he turned around and took off the mask. And that was another thing too that was interesting, was that he took the mask off to kill his father. He didn't leave it on. He took it off.
Yeah, I also like how JJ shot that scene.
Oh yeah.
Where the last bit of light is just fading right on Kylo Ren's face, and right there you could just say, okay, this guy's gonna get that. And that's the thing about Han. I wasn't shocked about his death only because the prelude towards it was so long. You know what I mean? Like, you could sense it coming. If it had happened a little bit more sudden, I would have been shocked. But it is a very sad death, because when you consider where the character's been, the Jedi, Empire, New Hope, what he's done for the rebellion, what he's done for the galaxy, he deserves a more honorable death.
Oh yeah, and then for him to come back to Leia after dealing with, him leaving her after losing their son, and they're talking again, and then, she's like, go save him, and he tries to save him, and he dies doing it. Like, that, I think, too, is also a heartbreaking, because he doesn't die, like, in battle, he dies by the hand of his son.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just, and then seeing Chewbacca just go, like, full jihad on everybody, I was like,
yeah.
Calm down there, Chewie.
And you know what, speaking of Chewbacca, and I mentioned this in my review, because this is one part of the movie that really bothered me. When they return to the Resistance, and right after Han's death, and they get off the Millennium Falcon, and Chewie just walks right by Leia.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that to me was like, what? And and they have the scene obviously with Rey and Leia discussing Han's death and all this and all that. But I said to myself, that doesn't make sense. That's one thing I got to kill about this movie. You could have probably one of the best moments of the movie emotionally if you drive a scene with Chewie and Leia. But they
hugged each other when they first saw each other in the movie.
Exactly. That's my other point. They embraced each other with, love and all that when they first saw each other. So why the hell, when Chewbacca gets off the Falcon, would he just walk right by Leia? That
is a weird thing to do.
It's very subtle. A lot of people didn't pick up on it. I saw it more than once, so I picked up on it. And the second time, and I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense.
No, see, like I I could understand if like he was mad at her because she sent him there, but he went on his own like fruition to go to the Starkiller base to do this, to try to talk to save Rey and to talk to Ben, or to Kylo Ren. But I mean, like, there was like nothing there, and then like he just gets on the Millennium Falcon, kind of like there was no real emotion from Chewbacca after the death, like, which kind of shocked me that there wasn't, you know, like anything besides him just going around killing people. Like, that was it. That was the death of Han. Like, there wasn't really much after that Chewbacca.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people, because I saw some of the comments in my review already, people are making excuses. Well, you know, Wookiees, they mourn. I'm like, wait a minute. How the fuck do we know they mourn differently? As far as I'm concerned, based on every movie I've seen with Chewie in it and Han and all that, they seem pretty emotionally driven to me. I mean, remember how he embraced Han when he got out of the carbonite? I mean, he coddled him like he was a baby and started brushing his hair.
Well, I mean, their entire relationship, I mean, has been very emotional.
Exactly. So it doesn't make sense to me that he would just walk by Leia. Even if he knew that Leia asked Han to do what he did, I don't think he would hold a grudge against her. I think he would completely understand that there's a connection with their son and they want to try and save him. I think Chewie and Leia and Han have been through enough that they know each other well enough to know that I think Chewie wouldn't hold a grudge against Leia, even if he knew. But as far as we know, he didn't know, and for him to just waltz by her like nothing happened is just ridiculous.
I will say though, I tell me if I wasn't the only one who thought this. When that scene happened, I thought Chewie committed suicide.
I thought he was going to.
Yeah, I seriously thought he killed everyone and ran in that place and pushed a detonator, and I was like, holy shit, Chewbacca just like sacrificed himself.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, and then he came out of nowhere, and I was like, wait a minute. How did he get out of there?
Yeah. But, what about you, Xander? What did you think about the Han death?
I was expecting it. I kind of knew about it beforehand. But it was one of those things, like, I was the person that when it happened, since I knew it was going to happen, I mean, I still felt emotional. I was like, oh man, it sucks. But I was the guy that was looking around the movie theater to see everyone else's reactions, because apparently, like, the leak had been, leaked on Reddit, like, the night before the movie came out, and I was hearing reports of, like, men in their 30s, like, crying and being escorted out of the theater, and I was hoping to see that. I know that sounds so morbid.
No, that sounds hilarious. I probably would have laughed my ass off.
I kind of got teary-eyed, but I was like, it's going to happen. He's going to die.
Well, it's a sad moment. It really is. That's an iconic character.
Oh, yeah.
And it was when he
died.
Died. Yeah, when he died, it wasn't like, oh, well, maybe he'll come back. Dude, he got stabbed and thrown off the balcony.
Well,
it was like, he's dead.
He put the lightsaber to his chest, looked his dad in the face, and turned it on. Like, I couldn't even imagine that, like, being in pain, because, like, you're just getting your heart burned from the chest. Like, everything in that area is just toast.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't even, like, rip it apart. He didn't cut him open. He just held him there and then shut it off and let him fall. Like, that was it. And I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it was a very, very sad scene. But I mean, it was a well done movie. It really, really brought on a lot of questions. I think, the amount of money it's making right now is insane.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when you consider when these big movies come out that break records like Titanic did, and then James Cameron did it again with Avatar, usually those movies stay on top for a while. And it's funny how Jurassic World earlier this year broke all these records, and you're like, wow. And Star Wars just comes, and I mean, we were 100% sure that Star Wars would beat it at some point. I think as the movie drew closer, people started to believe it because they really started to drive the movie, and they really started releasing some really good trailers and TV spots. But man, I mean, talk about being on the pedestal for a very, very short amount of time.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. But in terms of the year for movies, I mean, it was great. I mean, Jurassic World was a lot of fun. You know, obviously Avengers Age of Ultron was a lot of fun. Ant-Man was a lot of fun. There were a lot of good, lower end, I don't want to say lower end, but not as hyped movies that came out this year that were really good. This is going to sound weird coming from me, but I actually wanted to see this movie at the time it came out. I didn't get to it, and I saw it later. Age of Adeline was a really good movie that also had Harrison Ford in it, and Blake Lively. It's a very good movie. This is, any other movies you guys saw this year that really kind of stood out to you outside of Star Wars?
Mad Max.
Yeah, I didn't get to see Mad Max. I want to check that out.
I got to see that in 3D with my younger brother. And, we came out of that film, and my brother was like, he's like, I hate to say this, and he's like, I know that a lot of people are going to hate me for it. He's like, but I enjoyed that movie more than I enjoyed Godzilla. And I was like, I have to break my promise and say that I enjoyed that more than I enjoyed Godzilla. And he was like, we're shameful. And I was like, we are very shameful.
No, look, there's a lot of movies I enjoyed more than Godzilla 2014.
Going into that film, when I watched it in 3D, seeing the colors and the storyline, and it was just the character. Even Tom Hardy is Max. He played Max.
He's such a good actor.
He's such a good actor, and I was like, he's one of those actors that I have an actor crush on. But he just go in there barely saying anything and just kick so much ass, and I was like, this, oh my god, the guy that was he was dying at the beginning of the film. And he's one of the boys that I can't remember his name right now, but his character developed, all of them that you get to know. And the actress, I can't remember her name right now, that plays Furiosa, she just killed it in this film. She was just a complete badass, and it was awesome. The entire film, I love the soundtrack, I love the style of the film, the colors. I came home and I was like, I want to paint this entire film. I don't have a canvas.
That would have been awesome if you did too. If you did a whole big, you should do a wall mural like you did for your son with the Godzilla. That would be awesome.
I want to do a huge canvas of the scene where they're going into the sandstorm, and it's just there's a lot of great imagery in that film, and that movie, and I really enjoyed Ant-Man. I loved Ant-Man.
Ant-Man was a very very good film. I thought that was a good. It was a little bit. I don't want to say different because it followed some of the formula of their other movies, but character-wise, I thought they did a good job with that because that's a hard sell, and they pulled it off with Ant-Man. It was a lot of fun, and I have a feeling the Ant-Man and Wasp movie when it comes out is going to do real well. But yeah, so San Andreas was I personally liked. I love disaster movies, so that was a lot of fun for me. San Andreas was. But yeah, I would say probably most people are going to pick Star Wars for their movie of the year. How could you not, right? Of course, there'll be some people that go against the grain. I know there's still a lot of people who love Jurassic World and stuff like that. There's just a fun year of movies, and I didn't even get to see all of them. I never got to see The Kingsman. Never got to see that. I never got to see, of course, Mad Max, like you guys were talking about. So there's a couple movies I missed this year that I'm hoping to catch on DVD or on digital download or whatever. But let's look into next year, because next year is going to be very interesting. We have, of course, the comic movies coming out. Batman vs Superman, Civil War are going to obviously lead the way. We have the new X-Men movie. We have Deadpool. We have Doctor Strange, I believe, is coming out next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
November, yeah.
Yep. So, in terms of superhero films, and I'm sure there are more I'm missing, but those are the ones that strike me in the brain right now. Superman versus Batman, or excuse me, Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice. I'm very interested to see how that's going to do. And I'm very interested to see how people are going to receive it. Right now, I'm 50-50 on it. I'm not going to pass any judgment. I'm going to go into it, just like I went in with Star Wars. As much as I love Star Wars, if you heard my review, I was not going to suck its balls the whole way through. I was going to give a very, very precise, objective review, and that's what I did. Same thing for Batman vs. Superman. As excited as I am to see it, even though I'm not a huge DC fan, but these are two iconic heroes, I'm going to go into it being as fair as possible. I want to know what you two think, because we haven't spoken in a while, we haven't podcasted in a while, so I want to really know what you guys think of this movie. What is it? What feeling do you get when you saw those trailers? And I'll start with you, Xander.
I was very curious. I'm still this is probably one of the movies I will go see in theaters and watch, just because I can't wait to see Superman and Batman on the big screen together. But, I was very curious about it when I kept seeing the teasers, and when they let out the actual trailer. I know a lot of people complained that it showed like too much. Like some people were like, "Oh, the whole movie's ruined for me now." It's not for me. I'm still very curious to see what's going to happen. I mean, apparently, the creature I guess is Doomsday. They never said it was Doomsday, but they show that creature made from what's his name? Oh my gosh.
Zod?
Yeah, made from Zod, and a lot of people were kind of turned off by that. I'm very curious about it. I want to see more Wonder Woman. I'm actually, as much as I'm excited about seeing Batman and Superman on the screen, I'm even more excited, if not more, to see Wonder Woman, to see exactly how they're going to portray her, because we don't see a whole lot of Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman was like big in the, 60s, and that was it. Other than like cartoon movies and cartoon shows, we never really saw Wonder Woman. They almost made a Wonder Woman television show, but they couldn't agree on the freaking costume, and they ended up getting canceled. But I'm really excited about it, and I cannot wait to see Ben Affleck, completely betray Batman, because I think he's going to do a wonderful job. I always thought he was.
What about you, Liv?
I'm excited to see that DC is coming out of Batman's ass for the first time in forever, like, especially with, he's still in the film, but I'm glad to see that they're not only doing Batman, but Superman, and then to bring in Wonder Woman as something, because for so long we've had Batman just be DC's whore, that it's nice to finally see not only Batman, but we've got Superman, Wonder Woman, and then we have the whole Suicide Squad film that's going to be, I think, doesn't it come out after, or does it come out before Batman?
I'm not sure if it comes out, I think it comes out 2017.
Yeah, because I know that with Suicide Squad, that Ben Affleck's Batman is in Suicide Squad. Am I right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, I'm interested to see how the Dawn of Justice is going to fall into play with the Suicide Squad and what's exactly going to happen there. Because I think it's time for DC to take a look into their repertoire of characters that they have, and to bring more characters like Wonder Woman on film, because I think they would do so much more better than just using Batman all the time, especially with Marvel doing what they're doing and they're nailing it. I think DC could do the same thing with what they have.
Also,
so I'm interested.
Sorry to cut you off, but also Aquaman and Cyborg are supposed to be in this movie too, and we haven't seen anything of
making
them.
Like cameos or something.
Yeah.
And I heard Flash is making a very, very short, quick, no pun intended, short and quick cameo.
And I think honestly that's great, because if Cyborg and stuff's going to be there, we've got these shows on Cartoon Network with the Teen Titans Go and kids getting into the Teen Titans. It would be so cool if they could do something like that was live action on screen, and DC could pull that off. And I think if they're able to pull off these little cameos in this film, they should be able to see that with people that go to see this movie, and being able to do more than just Batman or Superman. Because there's so many great characters that they have in those comic books that they could do movies on, especially with the Teen Titans, because there's so much humor, and even humor, and there's dark. It's a whole teenage comedy, and teenagers go crazy for that shit. So I don't understand why they haven't done it to begin with.
Right.
But this film could lead to them doing more things like that, and I think honestly that they should.
Yeah. So Suicide Squad was wrong. It's actually coming out next year, August 5th. Mm-hmm. So that's another movie to add to the superhero list. And I'm actually very intrigued with Suicide Squad. I'm looking forward to that. As far as Batman vs Superman, I'm not a big DC person, so I can't really get into the whole argument of Doomsday. I'm with you, Xander. I don't think the movie is as spoiled as people think. I think these people are clever enough to know that, they're going to show certain things while leaving other things for a surprise. Now, we've seen companies not do that. Amazing Spider-Man 2 is a prime example. They gave away the whole movie in all their trailers. They revealed the Green Goblin, they revealed Electro, they revealed the Rhino. Then on top of that, made people think that these villains were going to be in the whole movie, when in actuality, Rhino was in it for maybe 5 minutes tops total, and the Green Goblin was only at the very end. So can they make that mistake with Batman vs Superman? Yes. Will they? I don't think so. I think there's going to be more surprises in store for this movie than people are giving it credit for. I gotta say, I'm a little surprised at the DC fans they are really, really hard, really hard on what's going on with these movies. I see more criticism from them than anybody else. And look, if they're entitled to feel the way they feel. If they're not impressed with what they see, they're not impressed with what they see. But I gotta say, I gotta see the whole movie before anything. You know, there are some things in the trailer. Ben Affleck as Batman is the number one thing I'm looking forward to. Definitely the number two thing I'm looking forward to is Wonder Woman. I'm very into this whole new thing now. Not new thing, but I'm very much into the recent woman stepping forward into primary powerful roles, like Rey being a Jedi. I'm so excited about that. It's not even funny. Like, to see a female Jedi front and center for the first time ever is just the most exciting thing for me right now in terms of Star Wars. I mean, we've seen female Jedis before, but to have one front and center as the core character for the series is a great thing. Now we have Wonder Woman coming for, you know, Batman vs. Superman. She's going to get her own movie. We also have, Captain Marvel coming, which is going to be based on Carol Danvers from the comics. So that's going to be another lead female role. So these are things that I'm very excited about in terms of what's been developing for these, movies lately. As far as Batman vs. Superman, I'm excited for the movie. I think it's going to do fine. There are people that are just not Zack Snyder fans, and the people who are not Zack Snyder fans are not going to like the movie. People who do not like Man of Steel are not going to like this movie.
I like Man of Steel.
And I love Man of Steel. I thought Man of Steel was great. That's actually
I finally watched it on FX because it was on there, and I was like, you know, this movie isn't as bad as what people said it was.
It's really not.
And it was so good. I was like, I like this Superman.
See, the problem I find, and this is another thing that kind of annoys me, is people are so stuck in nostalgia.
Yeah,
and I get it. I understand. We relate to things when we were children because being a child is an easy time in our life. We don't have bills. We don't have children of our own. We don't have a daily job we have to go to. We don't have a grind. We don't have a routine. You're young. You're in school, making friends, going out, causing trouble, watching your favorite TV, you know, so I get it. I understand that because of that, when we see things from our childhood reborn, we're very, very defiant. We're very much against it. But I gotta say, my feeling, I love change. I love to see a different perspective on things. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I thought Man of Steel was great. I thought it took the Superman character and it made him a little bit more serious. It also put him in a light where being Superman is not all it's cracked up to be, and that's how it should be.
Yeah.
People are not going to automatically, take to this guy like they did in the other movies and whatnot, and not to mention that, because one of the things people said he didn't have the charm of the other Superman, or he didn't. Well, hello, you're an alien on a planet. You've kept your power secret for so long that you're kind of walking on eggshells about how people are going to feel about you. So why would you suddenly just out of nowhere be charming? There's nothing to be charming about right now.
Yeah, especially for someplace that's completely, like, you've been there for it since you were a child, but, hiding superpowers and trying to be normal, like, there's not really much charming you can be, especially when you have a world full of people that are kind of assholes about change or someone that's different, right. Especially when they're stronger than you.
Right, and not only that, but you got to think too. He saw his father die right in front of him. He knew he could have done something about it, and he didn't, because he was trying to respect his father's wishes. And a lot of people criticize that scene. That's so stupid, blah blah blah. Well, I understand if you're looking at it just for what it is, which is this guy standing there taking his death. I get it. It does look stupid, but I think it's the message they're trying to convey in that scene, that his father was so adamant about keeping his son safe and sending the message to his son that the world isn't ready for you, that he wasn't willing to have his son put his identity at risk just so he can live. And I think his father at that moment thought it would be selfish of me as his father to ask him to save me when I know that once people see what he can do, the whole world's going to be on top of this guy.
Yeah.
I'd rather die than see that for my son. And I don't think people got that message.
I think it was it was one of those very strong pivotal moments in that movie that needed to happen. And I don't think people see that because they don't see that sometimes that's what has to happen for a character to develop, and that's what it needed. That's what he needed to be like, I have to change, things need to change.
And it also showed just how much Clark trusted his father.
Yeah.
He trusted his father so much that, and because Clark knew why his father didn't want him to go after him. So, and he respects him and trusts him so much that he was willing to stand there and take it. Because it's not about his father at that moment. It's not even about Clark. It's about the bigger picture. And so when I see people complain about that scene, it's like, all right, well, you didn't get it. So that's, it's nobody's fault. Not everybody can get that. Maybe it's because I'm a parent. I understand. That leads to another thing. Like we talked about the Han Solo death. Yep. Some people, it didn't affect them as much because, I saw it coming. It didn't bother me. Well, hey, it bothers me a little bit because that's a father-son thing. I have a son. It's different when you have kids. It's different when children are involved, especially if it's your own kid.
See, like I've had a conversation with somebody, and we talked about. He was like, "Well, if it was talking about how when Kylo took out all of the Padawans when Luke was training them, when that scene is discussed, that he was the one that did that. Like they were like, well, if I was Luke, I would have killed him. I was like, but it's his nephew and it's a child. There's a thing there that and especially with it being Leia's son and his nephew." There's a whole other element of emotional response there because you're going to kill your nephew because, that's just, like, there's family, it's a child, it's someone that, there's all these different elements that are going on, especially when you're dealing with something like that they're doing that for a reason to elicit a response from us, the viewers, especially those that have children or are close to children to understand the story. So I don't think a lot of people grasp that too well.
Exactly.
I was about to say, I don't know. I'm just like laughing at myself because I'm picturing Superman right now, and I can imagine Superman going on Facebook and sees how much people rant and rave about the littlest things, like a superhero that has a red costume instead of an orange costume. He's like, holy shit, dude. I can freaking fly. I have X-ray vision.
Right.
I'm not going to let these guys know anything. They're flipping out over a costume. They're flipping out over a commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's sometimes, and again, people are entitled to feel the way they feel. People are entitled to criticize whatever they want to criticize. I think that particular scene, some people get it, some people don't. Period. That's what it comes down to. You either get what the message is being sent there between, Clark's father and himself, or you don't, and you see it for what it is, which is a man standing there taking his death. To me, it meant a lot more, and that's one of the things I loved about about Man of Steel. But other movies for next year. So we talk about Batman vs Superman, Civil War. This obviously is going to be a big one for Marvel. I'm very happy for this movie already, simply because there's so many. I'm a Captain America fan. But of all the Avengers, it's my favorite character. Captain America is the man. And I'm so happy that by the end of this trilogy run, along with Iron Man and Thor, Captain America is probably going to be the best trilogy amongst those three characters in the MCU. He's not going to put up the money numbers that Iron Man did, but in terms of quality and entertaining movies, he's going to have the best trilogy. And I'm very happy for that. Very, very happy for that. This is probably, along with Rogue One, this is probably the number one movie I'm looking forward to. I love Captain America. I love what I saw in the trailer. A lot of people think they're painting Cap in a bad light. I don't think so. I think they're doing that on purpose. I don't think there's going to be a bad or a good guy in this movie. I think this movie is going to be good because if it does what I'm hoping it does and what it seems like it's going to do, it's going to put people in a position where they're going to feel conflicted about their favorite heroes because neither one of them are going to have a wrong point of view. You know what I mean? The way Captain sees it, I think people are going to say, yeah, that makes sense. The way Tony sees it, I think people are going to say, wait, that makes sense too. And I think that's what's going to make this movie very, very good is not only, of course, the action and the cameos, Spider-Man, Black Panther, so on and so forth, but I think the story element of seeing both parties not necessarily be wrong, but just disagree on what they're right about. That's what I think is going to make this movie compelling. What do you guys think about Civil War?
I was about to say I'm going to be the complete opposite in the sense that I'm looking forward to the movie. Don't get me wrong. but I'm tired. I'm tired of Captain America and Iron Man. You know, we'll get into that when we talk about Doctor Strange. I'm ready for Marvel to take this universe and move it forward. And that is one thing I'm excited about Civil War is I feel like Civil War is going to be that cusp that kind of makes things go a little more forward. And I think we'll start seeing more heroes and stuff like that build on. I mean, we kind of saw that with Avengers 2 with Scarlet Witch and whatnot. But yeah, I'm just like, you know, I like Tony Stark. I love, you know, Captain America, but at the same time, it's just like, I don't know, it's starting to get to me. It's like pizza, you know, it's good, but you can have too much of it.
Yeah. You know what I think it is with using, I think I see where you're coming from. I think the problem, and I agree with you on this, if this is true, is that we've seen so much hint, and in the one case, full-fledged, of what else is out there in the universe outside of the Avengerville, I want to call it.
Yeah.
That's what you're ready for. Like, you're ready for the Thanos and the Doctor Strange and more Guardians type of stuff, as opposed to the government and invasions from mass armies fighting the Avengers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I'm ready for that.
I'm with you on that. And I think you're right. I think Civil War is going to be the bridge leading into that, because like you said, we got Doctor Strange coming out this year. But before we get to Doctor Strange, we're going to talk about that next. I want to hear what Olivia has to say about Civil War.
I'm excited because in the trailer that was released, because I'm the idiot that I am, when we went to go see Ant-Man, I didn't stay for the second part because I thought, oh, well, I've already seen the one thing. So I didn't see the part with Cap and Winter Soldier, and I can't even remember that other guy's name right now. Is it Falcon?
Yep.
Yeah. But seeing the Black Panther in action in that trailer, I was like, yes.
Oh, yes. That was...
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I was so excited. I was like, fuck yeah, we're finally getting Black Panther. He's finally in a film. And like seeing him, and like I want to see the tension between these two, because I have to agree with Xander, like it just gets to a point where you're like, okay, there's more people than just Iron Man and Captain America, even though I'm a Captain America fan. It's just, can we move forward, please, so that there's other stuff that we can do, because you're introducing like Falcons being more into these films, and then you've got the Black Panther, Doctor Strange is coming. I mean, all of these things are building to this point, but it feels like they're going all at different paces, that they need to hit a spot where it funnels everything back in. And I agree. I think Civil War is going to do that on a lot of different levels. And I think it's going to put all of these superheroes who not only just have the abilities that they do, I think it's going to put them in a more human-esque light than just being like normal situations that people deal with, like having to pick between friends and that kind of, even though it's a more elaborate situation, it's still going to put them on a more emotional level that we'll be able to recognize, with not just fighting, Ultron or dealing with that kind of thing. It's going to be, they're fighting against themselves, which is, I think, a more that needs to be touched on, because you go into these movies and you see where they fight Ultron and, Vision is brought upon them, and there's all this stuff that's going on. There's not really, in Ultron there was the relationship between Black Widow and the Hulk. And I think that was that one?
That relationship, I think I'm the only one in the world that relationship makes sense to me.
It does.
It really makes sense to me. A lot of people were criticizing that, and I'm like, why? That is the one person that it makes most sense for her to be with. Yeah,
because she understands, she gets it.
Yeah, they understand each other. They're kind of both in the same light. The only difference is she doesn't turn big and green.
No, she can't have kids. He knows that he can't have kids. She's gone through monsters of her own. He is a monster. So, and she's a monster in her own light because she was a fucking assassin.
Yeah. So, they both killed people in cold blood. They have a lot more in common than I think people realize.
Yeah, and I liked that. And that diving into that emotional relationship in that film, I think they need more of that, because you go into these films, and even Captain America, on certain things that you watch him, he's so stoic, but you can just see the depression in his face.
Oh yeah.
Especially in that one scene where he's like, well, I don't have anything planned. He's just so depressed about
it's like
they're gonna die.
Exactly. And the one person he loves is 90 years old, laying in bed near death.
Yeah, and he's like, fuck it. I ain't got nothing planned. It's okay that I'm gonna die. And I'm like, God damn, Cap. But they need more of that in these films, and I think that Civil War is going to bring that to light, and I'm excited to see that. not too excited that it's the same characters all the time, but I am excited to see how they develop this and where this is going to go, because I thought that they were going to kill Captain off, but like, because Chris Evans wasn't going to do him anymore, and then all this other stuff popped up, he's like, no, I think I'm going to do it. And I was like, okay, so what's going to happen? Like, where are we going to go with this?
Yeah.
Are they going to kill off? Are they going to put Bucky in your spot? Is Bucky going to join the Avengers? What are we going to do here?
Yeah, I thought they were going to do that because, in the comics, Falcon takes over Captain's spot.
Yeah.
And they've been kind of building him up, so I was like, oh man, they're going to kill Captain and Falcon's going to be like the new leader.
Yeah, and I thought, because I thought they were going to kill Captain off so Bucky could take Captain's spot, but then Chris Evans signed on to do more Avengers movies, and I'm like, okay, so are we killing off Captain America? Are we just going to adopt the Winter Soldier into the Marvel Universe and just call it a day? Like, what are you doing? Where is this going to go?
So let's move on to that, because I discussed earlier we would get into this, and we're going to do it right now. Doctor Strange. And this is the perfect time to talk about it. We got these images released recently. I think they came out today, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And let's talk about those images first. He looks incredible. The outfit, it's not 100% comic, but it's got enough comic in there with their own design that it just looks great. And man, I'm pretty excited for Strange. I got to say, I know I'm going to start with Olivia, because I know she loves Doctor Strange and she loves Benedict Cumberbatch. So
he is just one of those actors that when I saw the Zoolander 2 trailer and I saw him in like complete drag with no eyebrows and long black hair and like all of these things that were going on, and then to see him like 360 it into Doctor Strange, I was like, he's gonna nail this role like he nailed Smog, like he nailed all of these characters that he's done before. He's been so much, and then to finally see him step into the Marvel Universe and pull off Doctor Strange the way that he did, and I'm like so pumped to just see what he is capable of doing. Like, not only being, because he was oh my god, I'm having a moment. He was in Star Trek when he was in Into Darkness.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he was Khan.
And he played that character. He was Khan.
Yeah, Khan.
I want to see how, with him playing Khan, I want to see how he plays Doctor Strange, because he's been so many different characters on so many different planes. Like, I want to see how he pulls a character off that's a superhero, because I don't think he's ever been one. So he's been Sherlock. He's been the guy that did the numbers thing in the Imitation Game. He's been everywhere. So I really want to see how he pulls this off, and I really want to see how this ties in, and I kind of want to see if he's going to stick around in the other Marvel films, if they're going to bring him into this one, if he's going to be important as well. So like there's a lot going on here for me that I want to see, and I just want to see Benedict Cumberbatch on a huge screen again. So it's a plus all the way around for everybody.
What about you, Zen? I know you're excited for this too.
Yeah, I remember, Robin, when you and I first started doing like the podcast, this was a movie that we talked about, because this back then that was like a rumor. It was like, oh, Doctor Strange. I'm excited about it because I love the actor. He's phenomenal. But I remember, I will stick by what I said the last time when we first heard about the rumor. I'm excited about it because this is going to be Marvel's Marvel Universe tapping into the supernatural on film. Yep. And I'm excited about that. When we saw the Norse mythology and Thor, I'm excited to see the supernatural on the big screen. That's going to be awesome.
And the Doctor Strange movie makes me wish to God that Disney and Marvel Studios had the rights back to, or I should say the rights to Ghost Rider.
Oh yeah.
Because Ghost Rider would have been such a great follow-up to Doctor Strange. Now that, like you said, and once you introduce that supernatural element, that opens the door for characters like Ghost Rider, Mephisto, Mr. Sinister, a bunch of their other supernatural characters. Maybe even, maybe not so much Moon Knight, but somewhat Moon Knight, because Moon Knight, he would fall under that category. But it would just open the door for so many of those characters. And I'm a huge Ghost Rider fan. I love Ghost Rider, and I just wish he was part of the MCU. But yeah, Doctor Strange, the images are great. I think Cumberbatch is a great actor, so I'm not too concerned about whether or not he's going to perform. I think he's going to do fine. And I think this is one of the ones where it could be very similar to Robert Downey Jr. and Tony Stark's. I almost already, looking at the images, can't see anybody else playing this role.
See, that's what I thought too when they first came out. I was like, he nailed this. Like, he nailed this so well that it worked. It's like you said with Robert playing
Tony Stark, that he did.
Iron Man, and then you've got Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Like, you just can't imagine them.
Yeah, exactly. There's just certain characters that play these roles. Like, same thing with Thor and Chris Hemsworth. I mean, this dude, he looks like he was born to play Thor, you know?
Yeah.
As much as I love Captain America and I like Chris Evans playing him, there's a couple other people that could probably play Cap, but I gotta give it to Chris Evans, considering all the movies he's done prior to Captain. He's done a really good job, with that role. So Doctor Strange, which, I believe comes out, November you said?
Yeah, November.
So that's going to be a big deal. So, you know, we got Batman vs. Superman coming out in 3 months, basically. Then we have in May is Civil War. Now we also have in May the X-Men Apocalypse, which, I'm also very excited about. I love the X-Men. It's another group of Marvel superheroes I very much love. I liked the last movie a lot, Days of Future Past. And of course, like everybody else, I liked the first 2 movies Singer did. The third movie, not so much. And, this one looks like it's going to be really good simply because number one, there's no Wolverine in it. And I love Wolverine. That's a big thing for me to say because I'm a huge Wolverine fan. But like I know Olivia said this before. Xander, I know you've said this. I agree. He's always been so front and center in the X-Men movies that it doesn't give an opportunity for the other characters to flourish. I think now is going to be that opportunity. But I think in this one, we're probably going to see more Professor X front and center. And of course, Jennifer Lawrence. She seems to be the staple now for that series. It's almost unfortunate that she's playing Mystique because Mystique comic wise doesn't really fall into that role. But, I gotta say it looks really good. Now I know you guys have seen the trailer. What do you guys think?
I'm excited to see Apocalypse.
He doesn't look like Ivan Ooze.
Exactly.
Right? I'm glad about that.
I'm glad they changed his costume, made it more blue. And yeah, when like that beginning trailer when he's talking, and you know, I'm like sitting there listening because it's not really the way Apocalypse sounded in the '92 cartoon, you know. And I'm sitting there listening to his voice, and I'm like, and I saw it was, I was like, oh shit, it's about to go down, you know. Like that, I'm really excited about it. And I like the fact that, you know, the X-Men is the one series that took a sequel that was supposedly canon and made it not canon, and they're fixing their mistakes. I can't think of another movie series that's done that.
Days of Future Past, I thought was a great movie.
It was so clever how they did that. It
really was. It really was clever. And I'm very excited to see Storm with a mohawk.
Yeah.
That's a big deal, man. Storm with a mohawk, like out of the comics. That's good.
I know. Like, I have had serious problems with the X-Men. I haven't seen Days of Future Past because I've been super leery with the X-Men movies, especially with, like, the shitty Deadpool that we got in Origins. And, like, I've just been really leery about certain things that they've done, and I haven't really gone forward with the X-Men movies. But, like, seeing the fact that Jubilee was in this film, and I was like, yes, thank you. And I want to see...
That's another big deal, too. I like... Jubilee's another character I liked a lot. Yeah.
See, I liked Gambit, and I liked Jubilee. And knowing that the Gambit movie is, like, circulating its way around, and I'm like, yes, I want to see you. Because I think the way that they did Remy in Origins was okay, but it felt so cartoony.
It felt forced. Like, all right, let's just get a chance to get this guy in here.
Yeah. And I really wanted to see... Like, I want to see Jubilee in action because her and Gambit and Rogue were my favorite. So, like, I'm gonna probably try to give X-Men another chance because I hated the third movie with a passion. Like, I hated what they did to Phoenix. I hated what they did to Jean Grey. I was just so pissed that any X-Men movie after that, I was like, nope, not doing it. Because I can't. You ruined one of my favorite characters, and I'm just, there's no shame in that. Like, there's a lot of shame. A lot of shame.
Yeah, no,
shame on you.
Yes. So, so X-Men looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And, staying in the X-Men universe, we have Deadpool, which looks fucking hilarious.
Did you see the trailer they dropped for Christmas?
I did see that one. Yes.
That trailer.
And I gotta say, I'm kind of curious as to what Colossus's role is going to be. And that's what I was very surprised to see him in the original trailer.
Yeah. I'm glad to see him.
Yeah, me too. I like Colossus. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see too if he's going to be in Apocalypse. I didn't see him in any of the trailers, but I would think he would be in there. But yeah, Deadpool looks really funny. I think we talked about this just a second ago. Characters that actors are just their prime. That's them. And I think Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool.
He is.
I think he has embraced it. You could tell he's having fun with this. And I think costume wise, voice wise, and the way he delivers his comedy, I think he's very much Deadpool. Obviously, by the end of the movie, will convince me 100% if he's just Deadpool and that's what he's going to play. But as of right now, I got to say, I think Deadpool is going to be very interesting. It's R-rated, which I'm very happy about. I'm not a big Deadpool fan. I wasn't, by the time he got popular, I already stopped reading comics for years. But just seeing what I see right now, it looks very funny. It looks very action-packed. I like comedy. I like action. So I'm very much excited to see it. What do you guys think based on what you've seen from the trailers? We'll start with you, Olivia.
Well, based on the one that I saw a couple days ago that they dropped, just the humor in it, the action. I love the fact that they kept the test footage with the scene where he drops from the bridge. And they kept that in for this film, like that they did that live action for this film. Right. The humor, I think it's just gonna be fun to go and see Ryan Reynolds just be cocky as hell. Like he should have been in Origins with Deadpool. Like just to see that, just to see all these other characters that are gonna be in. I mean, it's just I'm excited to go in and just see the humor, and I want to see Deadpool break the fourth wall. That's all I want out of this film is I want him to be the character in the comic books that always breaks the fourth wall. I want him to do it just more than once, just to be that character that does it.
And what about you, Xander?
I'm really excited. The more I see about it, the more I get excited about it because I won't deny it that when I first heard that they were making a Deadpool movie, I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. And then I was really worried that the comedy would be too much. That would like turn into like an Ace Ventura movie, like
I can see that.
Nothing against Jim Carrey, but like, it would turn into one of those movies that would be like, we're so funny. This is so funny. You're supposed to laugh right here. You're supposed to laugh all the time. I was scared it was going to do that and become like too like corny and too forced, kind of like Suicide Squad's Joker. Like I thought it was going to be like too forced, but the more I see of it. I'm just like, I feel like it's in the right hands. I think Ryan Reynolds is doing a phenomenal job. And, with it being rated R, it's just like, they have a playground they can go and play. And it's just gonna be, they're going into town. I cannot wait. That's gonna be a movie I will see at midnight. Definitely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even out of the film, I don't know if you saw the video from Halloween where he went out with a bunch of kids that were dressed like the X-Men.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Like, I was like, this man is just going to take this costume and going to go places all the time with it. And I mean, reading the stories of him offset with kids with cancer and going to see them and letting them on set, like this guy, he just, like he not only embodies this character, but he has like such a heart of gold when it comes to these things. It's really cool to see not only someone step into the role I think they're meant to be, but like even more embrace it even outside of the film, like with Chris Pratt as Star-Lord. Like,
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish.
Oh, no. You're good.
No, and the other thing I was going to say, too, is just me personally and my opinion, because I've always liked Ryan Reynolds and some of the work he's done. Even in movies where the movie's bad, he's always been entertaining. I got to say, I'm very happy to see that he's going to get a movie that's going to be a blockbuster.
Oh, yeah.
When you think about Green Lantern and some of the other movies he's done that have not done well, I'm very happy to see that he's not only doing a movie that he's going to enjoy playing the character, but that it's going to be a major success.
And I love that they make fun of the Green Lantern in the Deadpool film.
Yeah, exactly. So the other question I have too, I don't know, maybe you guys might know this. If not, anyone who's listening to this, please mention in the comments below. The little girl that's with Colossus, who the hell is that?
Oh my God, I know who you're talking about because I looked at my boyfriend earlier. I was like, what is her name? I've seen her before in a comic.
Well, not necessarily her name, but who is the character? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, because she did, in the recent trailer, she obviously has powers.
Yeah.
She did this one thing where she looked like she turned into a fireball or something.
Yeah, when she...
And I'm like, whoa, which X-Men character is that? Xander, you have any clue at all?
I have no clue.
Man, I gotta find out. If you guys are listening, please comment below if you know who that character is. I'm trying to figure it out. I need to know. I'm pretty much an X-Men buff. I can pretty much name all of them when I see them, and I couldn't name her, and it's really bothering me.
We're gonna have the comment by that. Worst podcast ever.
Yeah, I know. How did you not know that? Why are you even doing YouTube?
Because I like it.
Yes, like I'm supposed to know everything. So, all right, we have that, and then finally we're going to talk about Suicide Squad real quick. Then we're going to jump into Godzilla for a little bit, and then we'll wrap it up. Suicide Squad coming out August. The trailer was a big deal when it dropped at Comic-Con last year. I think there's supposed to be another one in the mix in the coming months, probably going to be in front of, obviously, Batman vs. Superman. This looks like a very interesting movie. I'm very intrigued with this movie. I can't say I'm super excited, but it doesn't mean I'm not excited. I'm very interested to see where they're going here. Now, I'm a little disappointed that I believe it's going to be PG-13. That doesn't mean it can't work. Obviously, The Dark Knight was a very dark movie and got away with PG-13, so it can be done. I'm very interested in this movie. The concept of this movie obviously is very, very different from what we've been getting in theaters. So, I don't care. Jared Leto, he's a good actor. The Joker, I think obviously he's going to put his own spin on it. As in terms of how the Joker looks, it doesn't bother me so much, but then again, I'm not a hardcore DC fan. So I don't know the many different looks the Joker has had over the years. I know the common stuff like the purple suit with the hat, and stuff like that. So how do you guys see this movie, or what are your feelings on this movie as it approaches next year? I'll start with Xander.
I'm excited about it. I'm not 100% behind the Joker's look, but then again, the Joker's changed a lot over, the years that he's been around. But the thing is no matter what the Joker looks like, he's in good hands. Jared Leto, I think Jared Leto is going to sell me. Because the thing is, it goes back to like the Ninja Turtles. I didn't like the way the Ninja Turtles looked, but I loved their personalities in the last movie that I was like, oh, I like this. And I think that's what he's going to do. I think he's going to use that look of the Joker and add his own spin and make me like it. And to me, that's a good actor, and that's what Jared Leto is. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about, seeing Harley Quinn on big screen. I'm wondering about how Batman's going to throw into it. I wonder if it's going to be like a flashback, or maybe it's going to lead into the new Batman trilogy that's going to have Ben Affleck, if that's going to be playing into it. So we saw, the Robin suit in Batman vs. Superman that had graffiti on it that was obviously done by Joker, with the whole foreshadowing about, I don't like, clowns in the neighborhood.
Right, yep.
So I think it's all playing into it. I'm excited about it. Like you said, they're definitely hitting some different ground with a superhero movie.
Olivia?
I guess I'm not a huge DC fan, in all honesty. I'm more of a Marvel girl. But this film definitely, especially with the choice in music for this trailer and how edgy and dark and gritty it is, especially with them tackling the abusive relationship between Harley Quinn and Joker.
Right.
Which I don't think we've ever seen in a Batman film before. So having that thrown into there, seeing all these different characters that come into play to be the Suicide Squad. You've got Will Smith playing a character that I don't think he's ever done anything along the lines like this. Mm-hmm. So to see him step into that role, to see Jared Leto take a Joker that has mixed feelings on whether, you've got people that absolutely love it, you've got people that absolutely hate it. Like, so to see that, I personally like the look of this new Joker. Some of the tattoos I'm not okay with, but I like the feeling of what's going on in this film. And the very end of that trailer where he is just the laugh, he nails the laugh. He nailed just
very
this,
important,
like, psychotic breakdown of what he's going, when he is going to hurt whoever's under that table, which I'm only going to assume is Harley Quinn at this point. But just to see, like, that level of psychoticness in a character, that's what has me intrigued about this film. Like, I want to see how dark he goes. I want to see I want to see his twist on it from just the Heath Ledger Joker that everybody just assumes should be what's in every Batman film. I want to see what's going to happen. Not that I'm saying that Heath Ledger Joker isn't bad, but I want to see something that's different, and I want to see something that's on the borderline of crazy to the point where it's probably going to make you crazy when you go see this movie. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely looking forward to checking it out. I think it's going to be, it's one of those movies that it's either going to be a surprise smash hit or it's just going to flop completely.
Yeah.
I'm going to lean towards it probably being a hit, if not a smash hit, at least a respectable one. Outside of these movies, there's a lot of other great movies coming out next year. Independence Day 2.
I'm pumped for that.
I am pumped for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. That trailer is sick.
Those spaceships and seeing the storyline of them using the technology, because Independence Day is one of my favorite films. I watch it, I think, 2 or 3 times a month.
Yeah,
it is a good film.
Yeah.
But like stepping into that where they're coming back after all of it and that these ships are like 3 times the size of what they've dealt with before, I'm like, this movie is going to be so much fun. And just seeing like all the characters from the previous film back in the film, that's what also is really cool to see them come back. And I kind of want to see if the kids are the main roles in this movie.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. I don't know if you read that website, but apparently they made it so that Will Smith's character somewhere in between those years passed away. Yeah. So if they gave a little story as to what happens to his character on the website. So that's going to be interesting, and I think his son will probably be one of the
main plot.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So also Warcraft. I'm looking forward to Warcraft. That movie looks a lot of fun.
Because when I saw it was at the preview of the Star Wars film, and I was like, is this a World of Warcraft film? And then it like popped up and said Warcraft, and I was like, I may come see this because I've never played World of Warcraft before, but I may do it after seeing this film.
Yeah. Yeah, Warcraft looks good. See what else we got coming out next year. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. Now, here's the interesting thing. I wasn't crazy about the first film. I didn't give it a great review. But for some reason, I'm super excited to see the second one because Bebop and Rocksteady look awesome.
Yeah.
They look really good. I was kind of impressed with that. What about you, Xander? I mean, you liked the first one, so you got to be excited for the second one, right?
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I think they are going to take a lot of the issues that we didn't like about the first movie and maybe fix it with this one. I mean, obviously, Shredder's more of a role in this one. He's not so much of a muscle like he was in the last movie. But I mean, of course, I mean, I'm going into it as like this is going to be just an action popcorn movie. It's freaking Ninja Turtles. It's not, nothing that should be taken as serious as some people are taking it. It's just a movie to watch and enjoy.
Have fun.
Yeah, just
dump some popcorn in your mouth with a big jug of soda.
Exactly. And Bebop and Rocksteady are in it. Obviously, there's some sort of like space invasion. So I'm like, oh shit, it's Dimension X. Maybe we'll see Crane.
Yep.
The only thing that I'm kind of like meh about, of course, is Megan Fox. I mean, I like the fact that in the trailer it shows everyone getting ready and getting all their like new weapons and shit, and it shows Megan Fox tying her shirt into a belly button shirt. I'm like, of course.
Well, I'm also excited to see Stephen Amell's first motion picture. I know you guys don't watch the show, but Stephen Amell is Green Arrow from the Arrow show.
Yeah.
He's going to be playing Casey Jones, so that's going to be pretty funny to see that. Other good movies coming out next year, Finding Dory. I'm excited to see this, believe it or not. I loved Finding Nemo, and I've sat and watched it with my kids a dozen times, so I'm looking forward to this not only because I want to see these characters back, but I get to take my kids to see it, so that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. What about you guys? You guys like the whole Finding Nemo thing, or?
I'm excited.
I have a 3-year-old, so I mean.
Oh, of course, so
yeah.
And
I saw the Peanuts movie and enjoyed it.
There you go. So, also another movie I'm gonna say, and I'm probably the only one in the world, but that's okay, because I have seen these actresses do so well in other movies. I am looking forward to seeing Ghostbusters. I know a lot of people are sacrilege to this movie. Once again, we go back to that nostalgia thing. I have some of my things that are nostalgic that I can't let go of, but for the most part, I try to move forward. I'm looking forward to this movie. I really am. I think Melissa McCarthy is very funny. Kristen Wiig is very I think it's Wig. I think it's Wig. Kristen Wiig. She's also very funny. I think it's going to be a solid movie, but we'll see. There's a lot of people that are very resistant against it. How do you guys feel about Ghostbusters?
I'm going to wait until I see the teaser and trailers for it.
There you go.
That's what I want to do. Cause I mean, I just don't want to be that person that's like, oh, it's going to suck. It's going to bomb. Everyone's going to hate it. And it turns out to be a really good movie. I hate being that person, so. Yeah,
I don't do that anymore. I really keep my mouth shut. Even if deep down inside, I'm like, I don't like this trailer. I don't say anything. I'm just like, let me just not voice that. Let me just keep my mouth shut and wait till the movie comes out. What about you, Liv?
I'm like I said, I'm on the fence about it. I mean, I love the Ghostbusters, but like, I don't want to make a decision now, especially on just like photos or an article. I'd rather see like a trailer. I'd rather see them acting or what exactly the plot line is of this film, like who's all going to be in it. That's what I want to see first before I say anything as to where it's going to go.
So we also have Star Trek Beyond. I know a lot of people were not impressed with that first trailer. I'm not too concerned about it. I liked the first one a lot. I liked the second one. So I have good faith that the third one will carry that torch. What about you guys?
Yes, I mean that's a movie that I'm excited about, but that's probably gonna be a red box movie for me. I'll be honest.
Yeah. I'll probably wait till it's at like a disc replay, which is like one of those pawn video game things, and be like, oh, hey, it's that new Star Trek movie. I'm gonna watch that now.
All right, so I'll be the only fool in the theater looking for that movie. Let's see what else we got coming out next year. Obviously, for those people who are very much into what's that damn thing called? The Hunger Games.
Oh, is it Mockingjay Part 2?
I think that's what it is. Is that Mockingjay Part 2? Yeah.
I have no idea.
I believe that. Or did that come out already? So what am I looking at here? Because I'm looking at Jennifer Lawrence in her Mockingjay outfit.
I know Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies is being either developed or is going
to
be...
God, yes. I saw the trailer for that. No, this is a different movie with Jennifer Lawrence, although she is wearing her Mockingjay outfit. So it confuses the shit out of me. Because as I'm looking, I'm like, wait, didn't Part 2 come out this year? I'm like, oh, maybe it didn't. But anyway, that movie is called Passengers. So let's just move on because I don't know anything about that movie.
I know The Fifth Day or The Fifth Wave. I want to see that one.
Yes, with Chloe Grace Moretz.
Yeah,
that looks
I like her as an actress.
It looks very interesting. Some people are excited about the BFG, Big Friendly Giant. I don't know anything about it, but my sister has a boyfriend, or her boyfriend rather, is from Australia. He was born in England, and apparently Big Friendly Giant is a big thing out there. So he kept telling me, hey, this is going to be a good movie, blah, blah, blah. Steven Spielberg's doing it. So that's got my attention based on his testimony to Big Friendly Giant. So we'll see how that does next year. Tarzan's supposed to be a big deal. There's a lot of movies. There's tons and tons of movies coming out next year that are going to generate excitement and also generate a lot of criticism. Angry Birds, a lot of people are kind of laughing about that movie. It actually looks pretty funny to me. I'm not sure if I'm going to be in the theater to see it. Probably not. But I might check it out one day when it's in the $5 bin. Not to say it's going to be bad. Not to say it won't be funny. It just doesn't interest me like that. But we'll see how that does. That's one of those movies that can do a lot of money or might flop completely. Assassin's Creed, another game to movie.
I'm so pumped for that film. It's not even funny.
The only saving grace for that movie might be Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Assassin's Creed fan. I played Black Flag. I thought it was fun, but I got quickly tired of Assassin's Creed because they kept pumping it out twice a year.
That's my thing with it too, is it's been pumped out like Call of Duty, and I'm like, why, Ubisoft? Why did you do this?
Yeah, they really are just really taking that to the grave. I mean, that damn game. And I know Xander is a huge fan of Ubisoft, so.
Oh, jeez. I will say this. I haven't bought an Ubisoft game in a very long time, but that new Far Cry game, I might have to get that.
Fun. It's fun.
Well, no, the new Far Cry Primal, it's not out yet. The one that's like you're in the wilderness and like you're a caveman and there's no guns. Like you actually have to use survival and you can like tame animals and like you can send a hawk to go get things for you. I was like, okay, this seems kind of cool. So yeah, I might have to get that.
Yeah, this sounds like something I would play.
So, and finally, coming out next year, I believe in July, and it's not coming out here in the States. It is coming out in Japan, is Godzilla 2016. Japan's first Godzilla movie, Toho's first Godzilla movie, in about 14 years, maybe less, possibly 2004, 10, 12 years. And, obviously I wasn't too crazy about that stupid teaser, which I'm not going to change my opinion about that. I thought it was ridiculous.
I agree.
It was stupid. It was dumb.
It felt like I was watching a clip from Cloverfield.
Yeah. I mean, or just fucking watching,
the news?
Yes. Thank you. The news. Oh my God. What's going on over there in Africa or in the Middle East? Oh my God. These people are running. It's just, I was so disappointed with that. It was like, really? Why even bother putting that out? And what's even funnier, which makes me laugh, and if people are listening to this at this point in the podcast on YouTube, I don't know, people might download this and play it some other time or play it in bits and pieces. I got a kick. I'm talking laugh so hard, pee in my pants type of kick. Looking at my comments when I did the review for that, and people actually defending that. Because there's nothing there to defend. There's nothing there to defend in that teaser. All it is somebody with a fucking camera running around and people running around. Anyone can do that. Me, you, Xander, can grab a bunch of people off the street, give them $5 a piece, say, hey, run around for about 2 minutes while I record you. Just look up and be scared. There's no, and
make sure to trip over some stuff and run into cars.
Yeah. Here, take this ketchup like you bled a little bit. It was so disappointing. And I would have rather that they not release anything. And then I talked about how the Gamera trailer was just so far superior, which it was. People were like, well, that's not a trailer. It doesn't fucking matter if it's a concept or not. It was 100 times better than what Toho released with their attempted tease of the tease for Godzilla 2016. Now, moving on to the poster, and then after I give my little rant, I'll let you guys throw in your opinions, and I want to hear what you guys have to say. As far as the picture is concerned, I'm 6 to 1, half a dozen to the other. Again, I know people, it looks just like 54, blah, that's great, oh my God. To me, on one hand, if you want to use 54 as your inspiration for a new design, that's fine. The problem is that this was not inspiration. This looks, like people say, just like 54. So where's the creativity? If I want to see Godzilla 54, I'll go down to my living room, I'll turn on my DVD player, and I'll pop in Godzilla 1954. It's one thing if you want to use them as highlights, so use certain aspects. Now, to be fair, we haven't seen it in motion. We haven't seen other pictures of it. I'm not saying I hate the picture. I like the mouth. I know some people don't like the mouth. I like the mouth. I like all those teeth. That doesn't bother me so much. But overall, with their first release of promo in terms of the poster and in terms of the teaser, I wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed in the least. Does that mean the movie's going to suck? No. Does that mean I'm going to hate the movie or that I think the movie's going to suck? No. I'm still very excited to see the movie. I'm hoping we get to see it here in America via streaming or like they do with the Dragon Ball Z movies. I don't want to have to wait till next year to see it. But as of right now, this moment, after seeing that trailer and after seeing that poster, I'm not impressed. How do you guys feel about it? And I'll start with you, Olivia.
My feelings on this thing, it's so mixed. It's not even funny. I called this design of this Godzilla the Tim Burton throw up because it just felt Tim Burton-y. And I love Tim Burton, but it felt to a point that it was just overly stretched out. The one thing that bothers me, and I'm a huge converter for those that are like anatomically correct, is that fucking eye. I hate that eye with a passion. It is too small. It doesn't work.
It is really small.
How is he supposed to fight over the eyebrow thing, the crown? How is he supposed to see? Is he just going to flail around or smack things with his tail? Like, the head design of this Godzilla literally is not functional. He is, I'm not gonna say it like it's a bad word, but he looks like the autistic brother of 54. Like he just came up out of the ocean.
You know what I think? I think it's Minya all grown up.
It's too small. I love the teeth. I love it. And the dorsal fin that just comes out of nowhere. There's no gradual feel for that. Like, it's just kind of pokes out. Like, there's nothing there that works for me besides the mouth and the texture of the skin. Like, it just feels like someone hit him with a 2x4 and squished the Play-Doh a little too much on his face.
Maybe he was born from the man-eating vagina.
Maybe. It could be. It could be that. It was the man-eating vagina.
It's all the man-eating vagina's fault.
It's just, and then you get the poster image is dark in and of itself, and I felt like the color scheme of that poster, and it felt like they were mimicking a lot of what 2014 did, because they're hitting on the red colors in a lot of their aspect, and then 2016 comes out, and it's just a red background with black and white, and that was it. And that, in 2014, they did a lot of that same color scheme for this one. So I was like, there's a lot of similarities here that they're playing off of, which I can understand it. But then you get this teaser trailer that's like, 30 seconds long of people running around.
Yeah.
And you hear Godzilla scream, I don't even know if you hear him roar.
No, there's no Godzilla roar. There's no Godzilla shadow, tail, nothing.
At least in the teasers for 14, you got like the wisping of the tail or the silhouette or a roar. There was just people running around screaming. And I was like, I told my brother when after this came out, I looked at him, I was like, I'm more excited to see the new Gamera concept than I am to see Godzilla 2016. And he was like, I don't even know how to feel. He's like, because it just doesn't look like Godzilla at all. Like, for Godzilla, when I think of him, I think of like the felon-esque, like cat-like appearance, or that like cowl that he has that's angry. And you can still see that from the side profile if you look at him. But even in the 1954 design, his eyes were functional. These eyes are not functional at all.
Yeah.
Like, that's what bothers me the most, is that eye. And it's off center too. Like, it's kind of at a 90-degree angle to the left. So like, it doesn't even work.
Yeah. Xander, what about you?
Japan, Toho was talking so highly about this. They were hyping it up.
Yep.
So much. And they were like, they were kind of like, oh, well, we really enjoy what America did, but let's really show them how it's done. Let's show them why, we are the creators of Godzilla. And they talked about it so much, and then they released that 30-second trailer that was found footage that's like so freaking overdone. I was just like, and then it makes me think, I'm like, man, I hope this whole movie isn't like found footage, because I'll be honest, I can't watch those kind of movies. They make me motion sick. I couldn't watch too much of Cloverfield because, or even like Bourne Supremacy, that scene where they're fighting over the pin, almost made me throw up. I was like, I can't even watch the movie if this is what it's going to be like. So I'm hoping that it was just a concept, a little teaser, and I'm hoping that's not what the whole movie is. But yeah, they didn't have anything that really remotely made you think it was a Godzilla movie. The only thing that I remember, I said this in the Nation on the group page. The only thing that would make you think it was a Godzilla movie was, one, the kanji that said Godzilla, and two, not to sound stereotypical, but when we see Japanese people running around in circles, we always yell, "Oh no, Godzilla!" That's the only thing that made me say, this is probably a Godzilla movie. But other than that, it was very lackluster. The suit, or I don't know if it's a suit or not, but the Godzilla like, it... I want to see it in motion. I want to see like a full body shot of it. The way it looks like his head's going to be like really, really small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to have like a cantaloupe head. So, I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I will say I do like the texture of the skin, and I thought the teeth kind of made me think of like Attack on Titan.
It makes me like a razor blades. Like someone just took razor blades and stuck them in his mouth. The
teeth were kind of cool. I like that. The eye, I agree. The eye was just really, really small. And it made it look like Godzilla told a joke and he was waiting for someone to laugh about. Maybe he was telling the joke about the teaser, like, and we really got these guys, am I right?
Yeah,
But,
it's oh man, I don't think it's gonna be found footage. If they did found footage, that would be dumb because the reason found footage works for Cloverfield is because you haven't seen 28 Cloverfield movies where they weren't found footage. You can't at this point. You can't take Godzilla and make him found footage. I don't think you can. I think at this point he's far from that. Don't even exercise the idea. I think they did it for the trailer. I think, maybe they wanted to come out with something before the end of the year and that's the best they could do. I don't know. And it's always funny because, I read the comments when I did the review and people commenting and they're making excuses. Don't make excuses for these production companies or any company for that matter, game or anything, because then that's why they keep churning out shit.
Yeah.
Because there's fans out there that make excuses for it. Don't make excuses. The fact of the matter is that this was a fucking shitty teaser and a shitty opening promo coming from Toho. And if they're going to talk the kind of shit they talked about this Godzilla movie and the Americans are good, we want to do better, this is not the way to start.
They could have taken, it's been 12 years since they've made a movie. Mm-hmm. They could have taken all of these Godzilla designs or clips from these movies, build it up to that point, and then had something that was, like a small teaser of a foot or something basic and used that and built it to that. It would have probably been a shit ton better than the 30-second the Running Man marathon for the Japanese people.
Yeah, it's the Japanese running of the bulls is what it was.
Yeah. So, they could have built this up to where they have shown all of these Godzilla designs up until this point, or even at the end of it, they could have released some sort of flash animation of this Godzilla image to that point. That's what it could have been.
I would have even taken a remake of Godzilla vs. Bambi.
Me too.
Yeah.
I would totally agree.
Seriously.
It's like 3 times better. Yeah.
So that's that, but I'm still excited for the movie. It's still Godzilla. I'm hoping that the next trailer or promotion we see is much better, but we'll have to wait. Maybe in the coming weeks or months we'll get something. But, so that pretty much doesn't completely wrap up what we got coming for 2016, but we obviously mentioned some notable films coming out. Obviously I failed to talk about Rogue One and comprehension. Excuse me. I failed to talk about Rogue One, in detail as I did some of the other movies, but, I think just to finish this out with Rogue One, obviously everybody knows it's not going to be anything connected to the last movie we saw. It's just going to be a spin-off movie. And I think it's supposed to be about them stealing the, Death Star plans. I think that's what this movie's supposed to be about. They said it's supposed to be in between, A New Hope and Episode 3. That's what I heard. I don't know. Have you guys heard that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. I thought it was supposed to just be they're getting the plans at a Death Star, which means we'll probably see some more, Darth Vader.
Okay. So yeah, that'd be good. Yeah. I hope, is James Earl Jones still alive to do that voice? I haven't checked up on him in a while.
He's still alive. The only problem is James Earl Jones is, I believe I don't know if he's got Alzheimer's, but apparently his health, because he was in Big Bang Theory, and apparently they said it was it took a lot for him to do that appearance in Big Bang Theory to remember his lines and stuff. He's over 80 now.
Yeah.
But apparently there's another guy that does a lot of the voice of Darth Vader. I forget his name, but he did the voice of Darth Vader in Force Unleashed, and he's supposed to be the new guy that does the voice of him. So he'll probably do the voice of Darth Vader, which he sounds very, very much like James Earl Jones.
All right. So yeah, that would be cool if we see Vader again. That alone will probably just make that movie another home run for the Star Wars universe.
Oh yeah.
So, but we're gonna end it here, guys. It's almost 2 hours, but you know what? That's okay. It's been since April since we did a podcast together.
Yeah.
And we are definitely going to get together again a month from now and talk some more entertainment. I'm sure there'll be a lot of things happening between now and the end of January. So before I go, I definitely want to let you guys know, or at least allow my friends here to let you know where you can find them in other areas. So Xander, we're going to start with you.
Yeah, you guys can check me out on my YouTube channel. I do have an audio podcast that you can check out on Podomatic and on iTunes, but just like Rob, I'm going to be slowly moving more towards just doing the podcast on my YouTube channel, just because it's a lot easier, and I found that it's easier for people just to go on YouTube and listen to podcasts. So you can check it out on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Xander Skullion. And also, I make videos as well. I don't know when you're uploading this, Rob, but, today's Monday. So Wednesday, I'm actually going to be uploading, my top 5 games of 2015. So I'll be releasing that. And also, I found an old video game magazine. It's the complete encyclopedia of the original Sony PlayStation. It has previews for the PlayStation 2, and all these games have all the reviews. So I'm going to be dissecting that for another future video as well.
Nice. That sounds good. Yep. And, definitely like you said, that's the same thing I'm doing on my podcast going forward. They're just going to be straight up uploaded onto YouTube, cause people can download them. There's so many places you can go to download YouTube videos, and it's no different. You can just go and select to download the MP3 portion of the video, and then you can listen to it. So, definitely. So, and then, of course, Miss Olivia, please let our listeners know, your talents and where they can find some of your work.
Right now I have a Facebook page. It is Off the Beaten Path Creations. You can like it there. I have all kinds of art that I try to post daily, sometimes every couple days, just depends on workflow. I'm going to be doing commissions in the beginning of January. I'm opening an Etsy shop, and I am currently discussing the possibility of starting a YouTube channel for my watercolors to do speed paintings, so that you guys can see how it's done, how I do my techniques, because I've had a lot of people ask. So check my page out for contests as well. I give a lot of stuff away. I also take, ideas, submissions for stuff, all kinds of nerdy things. So just keep an eye out for my page, and definitely for the new stuff that's going to be coming in the new year.
All right, awesome. And if you need help with that YouTube channel, you can definitely talk to me and Xander. That would be great. I think that would be a good thing for you to open up a YouTube channel and display your art. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, guys, I am still on E.T.N. E.T.N. is still alive and well, but I will be doing videos at my own pace. As I said in the beginning of the video, show reviews will be now condensed down to a first half review of a show, and then the season ending with a couple of sporadic videos thrown in between, depending on a big episode or big events that might happen. Movie reviews will continue. I'm hoping to get to the movies a lot more often in 2016 than I did in 2015. And there will be some other things that will come up on the channel as things progress. The kaiju talk will continue. The Godzilla talk will continue like so. In fact, it might even be expanded a little bit more. But I will be back next week doing videos, and videos will be up sporadically throughout the week. I plan on filming all my videos on a Monday and then uploading them as the week progresses. But until then, I want to thank you all for listening. For Xander and Olivia, this is Rob signing off for ETN, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for listening to Entertainment Talk Nation. Don't forget to rate and follow and visit us on YouTube at ETN, where you can subscribe to the channel for daily content.